Ooh, good morning. And hopefully you're having a very strong start to your Wednesday. As for the next hour, we're going to be placing a bunch of bets, mostly on main markets. We're really going to be focused on money lines, spreads, totals for tonight's NBA action. We have so many NBA games going on tonight, one NHL game. We're also going to be looking forward ahead to some college football and some NFL and also the World Series. Game 5, very pivotal Game 5 tonight between the Jays and the Dodgers. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with some the DFS Fantasy Optimizer over here at OddsJam. And we are going to go through some different picks and plays and see if we can put together some slips. But still a lot to jump into. We're in that really fun week where it's the final week of the Major League Baseball not the regular season, just the final week of Major League Baseball. With the World Series going to be coming to an end by the end of this week. And so we got some baseball going on, one hockey game, a bunch of NBA, and we're getting ready to say hello to college basketball, which is awesome, which will replace Major League Baseball, which in my opinion, college basketball provides just as many, if not more, betting opportunities than Major League Baseball. So over here on PrizePicks, I have a 3-man power slip teed up, one of my favorite types of slips to run. And then I'm just going to simply select all for the statistics, and I am just going to remove the fantasy scores. We've talked about this. I just don't like to play fantasy scores, but hopefully you're having a good start to your morning. And also, as we can start to hit the end of October, hopefully you're seeing some positive results with the OddsJam software. I know I have been having a very solid October thus far. So the points combos, I don't see any pinnacle lines. Mostly, guys, I know we're going to look at, mainline markets, but we will look at some player props just this morning when it comes to DFS. And Pinnacle, for the most part, for NBA player props, won't have anything released in terms of their odds. So I heavily lean on FanDuel and their projections. And at the moment, I love this projection between Jalen Green and Jalen Wells in terms of it's 20 cents off from PrizePicks to FanDuel, but not much else I'm really seeing. Irish, good morning. 49ers faithful, morning to you. Matt, what's going on, man? Good morning. So, yeah, we had a nice hit last night. Obviously, the NHL goal scorers, guys, continues to cook for us. At the moment here, we're going to move on from PrizePicks. I just don't see a ton. But we hit 2 of our 3 picks, and then also the little 2-leg added boost parlay on FanDuel cashed for us as well. So, yeah, it's been incredible. It's something that I'm kind of, it stinks that today we only have 1 game going on. So we'll obviously take a look at that to see if there's anything on the evening stream tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, if we have any opportunities. I think the Blue Jackets are just playing today. So, but it's been an unreal month for NHL goal scorers. Over a 50% ROI, and I've placed probably close to 80 or 90 bets, which just shows that we're running very hot. But even when I'm expecting us to cool off, we haven't. Hopefully you guys have been paying attention. I know Irish has in terms of what I'm looking for and how I'm dissecting plays so that you can start to copy this for yourself. But, yeah, NHL goal scorers has paid off for any subscription for any plan here at OddsJam. It's been unbelievable. So underdog 3-man slips. If we're looking for some minimum data points here, normally I like to go 2, sometimes 3. Cade Cunningham on the over PRA. This looks okay. I don't mind Cade Cunningham. So we'll throw him in here, as they're taking on the Magic tonight, which typically defensively is a tough matchup. But that was the old Magic. Now I see how the new Magic with the newly acquired Desmond Bane, how that looks. Julius Randle under 31.5 points and assists. FanDuel's at 30.5 at minus 128. Now, DraftKings sees this at minus 116, so this is not exactly massive value because if I wanted to bet this straight, I would put this over on DraftKings. But we'll go ahead and throw this under on Randle. Okay, and then who else can we throw this on? DeAndre Ayton under on his points. It's fine. Ben Shepherd. How about Schroeder? This is 18 cents off, over on his rebounds. All right, let's throw this one up here. This is one that I created, guys. This is going to be an underdog 3-pick slip. Let me drop this in. Edge zone needs an NHL break. Yeah. Yesterday was insane with the NHL, how many games were going on. Guess what, Edge Zone? Tomorrow, it's going to be almost just as crazy. So one game tonight for the NHL, but tomorrow, guys, there's at least 9 to 10 games that are going on. So buckle up because it's going to be insane tomorrow. And one of the main things, guys, that the reason that Edge Zone in the chat is saying he needs a break is because they have been absolutely on fire since the NHL season started on their player shots on goal. Their Edge Zone, the Matrix plays have been just unbelievable. So really, really hot. And on a day like yesterday, when there's so many games going on, you'll receive sometimes upwards to 25, 30, 40 plays when it comes to the shots on goal. And they were definitely in the green yesterday in the shots on goal. It was a nice day. I tried to grab as many of them as I could. And I grabbed probably about 90% of them yesterday, but there was a ton. So there was a 3-man entry over there on Underdog that I finally got hit with some limits on Underdog, which kind of stinks. Better 3-man slips. Wendell Carter over 9.5. I mean, FanDuel's at 10.5. But again, it's only a minus 106, so might be a slight discount. Donovan Mitchell under on his rebounds and assists. Let me take a look at this. So we're looking at what, the under 9.5. Cool. All right, I like this. Not bad at all. What else? Levine under on his threes, under 3. Okay. Anthony Davis over on his rebounds, not bad. I'd rather take AD over on his rebounds. So we're looking over 11.5. So we got Davis over on his rebounds. Spida under on his rebounds and assists. And I'm okay with this play with Wendell Carter. It's fine. We're looking for the over on the rebounds and assist on Wendell Carter. All right, there's a 3-pick slip. Again, this is a perfect play, so we do not want any insurance. Do not play this as a dynamic play, guys. This is on Better. I will send this over to you guys. So we shared an Underdog entry. We're going to share a Better entry as well. 2-man, Brio. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. Okay. Since you talked about Boom Fantasy, the only thing is OddsJam used to support Boom Fantasy, and so they don't have that book currently added anymore. It's been removed from the optimizer, so not there at the moment, which definitely stinks. So we don't have any Boom Fantasy at the moment, which can be difficult. Let's look for leagues. Let's look for some NBA. Because that's what we're going to see the most when it comes to DraftKings Pick 6, 3-pick entries. Kyle Filipowski, 18.5 PRA. I love the Filipowski play. So, yes, please. I like that. Obviously, these are a lot of Jazz plays. What about the Jalen Duren? Yeah, this Jalen Duren plays is decent. Points and rebounds. And then Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg's fine. Is there anything else, though, outside of Cooper Flagg that we already played the Randall play. I'd like to play something else other than Randall. Obviously, this PRA, we get this at 38.5. I know we played his points and assists. I'm okay with playing a slightly different category. So I'm just going to log in. A new book, guys, that was added. I'm just going to log in over here on DraftKings Pick 6. New book, guys, that was added yesterday to OddsJam's ecosystem that I did a little spot check on. Lotto Land. It's for my mates across the pond. whether that's Australia, New Zealand, or the UK. Lotto Land is a book that you guys want to check out. All right, pick six. First off, do we have any boosts on pick six? There's a choose your boost. Ride the upside your way for Wednesday's contests. So we have an option here, guys, on pick six, just so you guys know. You can claim a 30% winnings boost or MLB boost. I am going to tell you for today to always, always, always take the NBA winnings boost. There's like 10 NBA games going on, which means more options. There's one MLB game going on. So your options are very limited on MLB compared to NBA. Always take this boost. Claim that boost all day long for the NBA. More games, more betting options, more. That's advantage you as a sports bettor. It's advantage sportsbook if you're taking the Major League Baseball side. And so I do not want to be on that side of things. All right, so we're taking Anthony Davis. I'm sorry, not Anthony Davis. We're looking at Cal Filipowski. And we're going to grab his over on his points, rebounds, and assists. This already bumped to, 18.5. Yeah, we want the over 18.5. Cool. We want Jalen Duren over on his points and rebounds, which this is over 21.5. It already bumped to 22.5. So I gotta refresh this. So this Jalen Duren play's gone. We can grab Filipowski. We can grab who else? Ja. I'll take Ja's. Ja's, that's a tough one. Cooper Flag it's okay. It's not like awesome. But with the boost, that's fine. So we'll take Cooper Flag. We'll take his under on his points and rebounds. That already bumped. It already bumped to 22.5. Insane. Dude, all these plays are bumping. All the plays are bumping right now. Filipowski already bumped now to 20.5 PRA. All these plays bumped. Obviously, I can still get down with Keontae George, right? But we need to hurry up and find two other plays because this is not looking awesome. So we grab Keontae under on his points. Like I said, job points and rebounds, it's good to FanDuel. I just don't like taking the under on a guy who's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. It's one of my least favorite things because Ja can go off for 30 on his own. Filipowski, now we would take his under PRA. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. We talked about the Randall PRA, but I don't see that right. Yeah, it's right here. So let's take Randall's under on his PRA, which is, again, we're just getting one. We're on it twice, so if you don't want to grab this, I understand. Dude, I cannot spell the guy's name today. All right, we're looking at under 38.5. Okay, we're getting this also. Does it have to be, if it's a 4-pick boost, guys, by the way, don't take the 4-pick boost because it's trash. Yeah, no. All right, this is going to be the slip. Okay, let me share this with you guys. Yeah, lots getting bumped. There we go. Nice to sell that. So, Rio, just so you know, great point. Another reason why we love Edge Zone is that they do offer Boom Fantasy over there. So if you sign up with Boom Fantasy, you're like, what am I going to do with the sports book? This is where Edge Zone can be very powerful because let me take a little quick screenshot of this. Because this is where, you can use them. They offer a guy that like West Coast Arbs, who's giving out a bunch of plays, and he's giving out Boom Fantasy plays. So this is someone that you can tail his slips with over there on Edge Zone. So we've talked about this before. I'll drop the links, guys. Their matrix play is really where they're cooking with NHL shots on goal. So I'll share this with you guys right there. If you want to check it out. Let me delete this one. Wrong link. Bam. All right, there it is. All right, let's move on to, let's also take a look at Dabble for anyone that's on here for Dabble. And then we'll move on to some sharp money betting. Again, guys, the morning streams are going to be very much focused on betting main markets. I feel that you can beat FanDuel at mainline markets for the NBA or NFL. A little tougher to beat these books later in the day. Now, we are taking, when it comes to the NBA, we're taking on some risk. Let's look at 3 pick entries on Dabble because none of the injury news is reported this early in the morning for the games today. But something just to keep note of when we're going through this. So Cam Thomas under 6 points. This is obviously compared to FanDuel. You're receiving some insurance. I like the play on Cam Thomas. I can get in on that. GJ, no, I don't have a Discord. I spend my free time, when I'm not streaming and I'm not making content, I would say the 2 Discords that I spend the most time in are Edge Zone and Juice Bets. Juice Bets and Edge Zone are 2 Discords that, I'll pop in the chat or, I'll pop into a stream. I was on the Edge Zone. I was hanging out in the Edge Zone stream, listening to Arbfather and Tumbo tune on Monday evening. I was hanging out. Those would be probably the 2 that I hang out the most. I don't have my own Discord. I really don't have much of an interest. I think that if OddsJam ever fired me and or just decided to leave, we went our separate ways, you would probably see me join one of the 2 Discords that I just mentioned as some type of contributor. I could see that. I have great relationships with both the boys over at Edge Zone and at Juice Bets. They're awesome. I really believe in both those Discords. So definitely would be something that I would use. Okay. But it was a great question. Great question. So Santi, I like to play on Santi. Grab that. On this, I grabbed Cam Thomas. I would grab Santi. Denny Advida, under on his points and rebounds. This is at 30 compared to 28.5, the most books have. So I like that. Sabonis. Yeah, Sabonis over 21 when FanDuel's at 21.5 at minus 130. Love the Sabonis play. Really, other than Haynes King, just because, you can grab Haynes King, but this is for Saturday. All these 5 NBA plays, Cam Thomas, Aldama, Advida, Sabonis, Trae Young, these would be the plays that I'd go after. Even Ja on his assists. I'd probably skip Reed Shepherd, but man, I like a lot of these plays on Dabble. You could make yourself 2-3 slips easy on Dabble. All right, so let's kind of start with the arbitrage tool, right? Simple, early, easy. Now, for myself, if I'm going after NBA player props, I'm not arbitrage betting in the morning for NBA player props. If you're someone that this is the only time of the day that you can arbitrage, then by all means, go grab these plays right now. This is going to depend on the sports books that you have accounts with, right? Just pick and choose the sports books that you can select, that you have. Percentage-wise, we're looking at a maximum of 10%. Minimum, again, I've mentioned this before, this is blank. So if 2% is your number, set it up for 2. If you find out that that's too low for you and you want to put this at 3 or 4 or 5, set that up, right? Figure out what it's worth for you and your time, because you want to make sure that your time is very valuable, and you want to make sure you're getting a solid return on your investment with arbitrage betting. You can use OddsJam's recommended book weights. I like to also use that, or Pinnacle, because if I find an arb to Pinnacle, I will place a just one-sided straight bet on that recreational book. Leagues, select them all if you want. If you know that there's going to be a lot of basketball, right? There's going to be some baseball. Maybe there's college football today. We're looking just specifically for today. We know that there's one hockey game, okay? I don't like to bet alternate markets, so I don't prefer not to arb. It doesn't matter really for arbitrage purposes, but for my account health, I don't like to arb alternate markets. Date range is just for today. And then you're just going to filter through and take a look at plays, right? So if you live in a state that has Hard Rock and you have a global offshore book as Bovada, I've mentioned before, guys, for NBA player prop betting, for arbitrage betting, Bovada is a goat of a book. Has so many profitable opportunities. This one's insane, right? This is a 10% return off your investment. There's a high chance that Hard Rock screwed up these odds for Cooper Flag. But again, if you just wagered $100 on Bovada and $70 on, or $100 on Hard Rock, $70 on Bovada, your total investment's $170. So no matter what happens, you're going to make a profit. If the over hits, you get paid out $191. If the under hits, you get paid out $185. But on either side, you only put up $170 total, right? So you're making $15 or $20 off of your $170 investment. So naturally, the more money that you invest with this strategy, the more money that you can make, right? So, but if you can only wager $25 on one side, wager $18 on Bovada, you're making almost $5 in profit, which off of a $43 investment is incredible. Hard to find a 10% return on your investment that's guaranteed today in the stock market, because there's even risk involved in the stock market. But this is a guaranteed investment. So that's why we love arbitrage betting. Now, certain sports books, when you can get limited. So the reason that I don't go after these player props is because this game doesn't start till 8:30 Eastern time, and it's currently 9:20 Eastern. So we're looking at like 11 hours until this game starts. That's why I'm not trying to bet this, because you will have to bet an under, guys. In order to execute this arb, you have to bet an under. How many casual sports bettors are betting an under 11 hours before tip-off? And the answer is not too many. So that's why I like to save these NBA player props, which this whole screen is NBA player props. I like to save my arbitrage betting activity for about 60 to 90 minutes before games start. That's a great time to start betting your NBA player prop arbs, because that's where most casual sports bettors are sitting down getting ready to bet the games. So that's why I'm not going after this. But if all you have time for today is this time slot, then by all means, hit all these plays up. Go make your money, because there's nothing better than locking in two sides of an arb and understanding that you don't have to worry about if it wins or loses. Who cares? So use code Billy35 for 35% off your first month and receive a 1-week free trial with OddsJam if you guys want to check this out. Now, the Sharp Money tool. Big fan of the Sharp Money tool. The first thing that I'll look at is the mainline markets, right? I'll have all the major leagues kind of selected. And then our sports books, I can go ahead and grab the other books as well. And we're looking at a minus 200 to a plus 150 odds range. I could also set this up to plus 200, or we could just clear out the odds range, right? And for today, for the main markets, what do we have shown thus far? Okay. So Pinnacle doesn't seem to have... Pinnacle doesn't have their odds set yet for this Portland, Utah money line. Okay. So somebody clearly wants minus 137 odds on the Trailblazers for $2,600. We can see that on Bovada, that's minus 150. That would be in Circa. These would be my next two sharpest sports books that I would lean on. Minus 145, minus 150. But Ballybet's offering this. This is basically just a plus EV play, guys, on its own. It's not necessarily sharp money. It's just a positive EV play, because all the Canby sports books have this way off to everybody else. So betting the Blazers on the money line seems to be a very smart play. I know at some point, guys, that I'm going to get limited on my Ballybet. And if I'm going to get limited, I'm totally fine getting limited on an NBA money line play, because this is where they're going to accept the most amount of money. So I have $335 in this Ballybet account. Again, this game doesn't tip off until 9 p.m. Eastern, but I'm still fine with betting this because it's well off to Circa, 9 cents off to Circa, and well off to Bet Online. If you aren't limited yet on Ballybet, then maybe I would hold off on this. But again, I'm a huge fan of this one, and I'll go in for $250 because I know it's a really good price if they'll accept this. They'll accept 157.16 on an NBA moneyline play. So I'll just go in for 155. That's fine. And we'll grab the Blazers on the money line at minus 136 odds. Again, if some injury news comes out that works against us, tough look. We'll find out tonight on the 6 p.m. stream if this was an awesome play to make or if it was terrible. But right now, as it turns out, from just an odds range perspective, like FanDuel's at minus 152, all the other books other than ESPN Bet, you can even grab this guy's at ESPN Bet at minus 140. Not bad. It's if you want to grab this on Onyx at minus 142 or DraftKings. But I'm totally fine with grabbing this at 155 on Ballybet. Let's see. Well, let me catch up to everybody here. Morning, Ken. What's going on, Ken? Christopher says, I did the low hold liquidity thing you showed me before, and my results have been phenomenal. Billy, that advice was superb. Glad to hear it, Christopher. Glad to hear that it worked out really well for you. Irish almost hit that one. Good to know. Good to know. Chi-Town says, just got the edge zone. Give us a quick rundown of the Discord on what to go after and what not to if you have the time. Yeah, that's no problem. Happy. Let's kind of get through the sharp money tool. And then I'll be happy to kind of go through a rundown of the Edge Zone Discord. Always happy to do so. So again, guys, looks like if we refresh this. Yeah, so Pinnacle just posted odds. So again, from a sharp money breakdown, this is not a sharp play. 6,000 in liquidity. There's 4,200 out there. But Pinnacle posted odds of Trailblazers minus 151. Okay? So very good play here. Now, remember, we talked about this a zillion times. I'll zoom in a little bit to break this down. We talked about like high liquidity from the exchanges that there are no ceilings, right? So you can bet whatever you want. So you're going to say, well, Billy, somebody really wants the Trailblazers because they put up $250,000 on the Jazz, right? So this person on Kalshi wants you to bet the Jazz, and they're offering $250,000 that you could bet the Jazz. But what you have to understand, and OGs and DGens, I hope you guys understand this concept, is that this is an unattainable price. That this order is, there's a high chance this order will not get filled. This bettor on Kalshi wants to bet the Trailblazers, but they want the Trailblazers at minus 124 odds. So in order to receive minus 124 odds, they have to offer odds of plus 124. Well, getting the Trailblazers at minus 124 is an exceptional price. That would be insanely plus EV. But guess what? You can't get that anywhere. Anywhere. The best odds that we got it at were minus 136. This person wants this at minus 124. So while I see that there's $250,000 being offered for you to bet the Jazz, that doesn't mean that I automatically go bet the Trailblazers. It just tells me that this person wants the Trailblazers at an insanely good price, and that's most likely not going to happen. So I don't just go bet the Trailblazers because I see this amount of money. You have to take into account that this person wants the Blazers at a great price. Now, compared to Pinnacle, compared to Circa and Bet Online, I still think this is a very good play on Ballybet. Anything that's 8 cents or off in price is a big deal. So this is 14 cents off to Bet Online compared to the price at Ballybet. It's 9 cents off to Circa, and it's 15 cents off to Pinnacle. So for an NBA moneyline play, I definitely like the Blazers. Right? If you look at this Hawks game, Pinnacle's taking 4K. This would be a play that I would entertain. The over on the Hawks and the Nets, the under on the Hawks and the Nets at 238.5 points. I'm not limited yet on my ESPN bet account, so I'm not going to go after this play. But again, it's a mainline market play, which I can get behind. It's only 5 cents off it's 7 cents off though to Pinnacle. 10 cents off to Bet Online. But again, this is just it's kind of just a really good price compared to every other sportsbook. No other sportsbook is offering even odds. You can even grab this over on DraftKings if you believe in the sharp money strategy, right? Because there's somebody wants this on ProfitX at basically plus 101. Somebody wants this on Novega plus 100 odds. So that's fine. But again, compared to the limits, there isn't a play that I'm really going after here based on the sharp money tool because, someone wants to bet the over on, we should bet the over on this Pacers-Mavs game. It's only $263. Pinnacle's taking a $4,000 limit, right? Same with the total runs today in Game 5 of the World Series. Pinnacle's taking $10K on this. There's only $664 out there in sharp money. That doesn't mean that this is a sharp play, right? All right, so let me pull up the Discord over here. So a couple of different ways, as Chi-Town asked, and because Chi-Town is a premium member of this YouTube, of my YouTube channel, these are some ways that I would use the sharp money tool. Number one, I just shared a link for the Matrix, right? The Matrix is solid. Really, really solid. There's Arbologist, a picture of him in his hockey gear. It's a hilarious picture. Love this picture. So obviously you see this 6 right here, guys, on the left-hand side. That's how many plays they just dropped for the NBA. So they just dropped some NBA plays. So for like yesterday, here's a play that cashed. Frank Nazar over 1.5 player shots on goal. This is what you would see for today's NBA games. You're going to see the total number of plays, the date range, the edge that we have, and then how much you should risk to win, which they're telling you, hey, you want to risk 1.74 units to win a unit. So the play here is we want to bet the over 1.5 shots on goal. He plays for the Blackhawks, and the fair value they're saying is minus 207. The first recommended book they're going to tell you to bet this on is FanDuel. And most of the books on the Matrix, guys, that you're being recommended to bet on are sharp books. That's why the Matrix is awesome. You can bet into Props Builder. You can bet into Bookmaker, into Bet Online, into FanDuel, into Pinnacle. That's the cool thing about Edge Zone. The idea behind Edge Zone is that they are focusing on telling you once you get limited by all the soft books, once the Bet365s, the MGMs, the Fanatics, the Hard Rocks, the Sports Zenos, they limit you. Now what? Well, now you can use this model to bet into sharp plays. So I love the Matrix. I love all the plays with the Matrix, and you can basically bet this, guys, minus 174 to minus 179. So they give you a range on some of these plays. If you can find this play in between this odds range, then bet basically $174 to make $100. So that's how it works with these different types of plays. So, yesterday was an insane day that they provided a ton of opportunities. Crosby, right? Crosby, over 2.5. This cashed for us. He had 4. They're telling you to bet this on Props Builder. They're saying, the fair's plus 107. If you can find this play between plus 117 to plus 122, bet 1 unit to win 1.22. Right? That's what they're telling you to do here. Now, I would also say, check out the contributors. Arbfather just dropped this play, I don't know, about 40 minutes ago. High chance of a void, but he kind of walks it down. Rui Hashimura, over 4.5 rebounds. This is on Props Builder. This is probably going to get voided, like he said, because it looks to be a mistake on Props Builder. But this is an insane play. And I would go after this play, even if it is a mistake, because we talked about with Props Builder, guys, there's so many global sports books that offer Props Builder. You can bet this on one of them, right? So I'll take a quick peek on Props Builder just to see if this is available, right? So like on a book like MyBookie, MyBookie got limited a long time ago, but I can still use Props Builder over there. So I'll just take a quick peep to see if this is there. Probably not, since he posted this 40 minutes ago, but it's worth just taking a look. So we're looking at Rui over 4.5 rebounds over here on the NBA. Let's see. What do we got here? Lakers, T-Wolves. They have it at 5.5. So if I go to his 4.5, if you just go to rebounds, guys, yeah, this is not there anymore, but that's okay. I just wanted to take a quick peek. So that would be Chi-Town. The next way I would use is I would check out some of the contributors. They have some great contributors. As Irish was alluding to earlier, West Coast Arbs, he's posting sleeper plays. He's posting underdog plays, pick 6. We talked about Boom Fantasy earlier. Here, for anyone that's using Boom Fantasy, this was yesterday, right, with Giannis. But he's posting Boom Fantasy plays. So he's doing PrizePicks, Boom Fantasy, pick 6, underdog. He's posting a lot over here. This is West Coast Arbs. They have some great contributors. Saul Covers does the NBA. Micah does all college football. He gives you write-ups behind all his college football plays. Stack to Stacks, he's all DFS, right? This guy's doing all DFS entries. He's giving out different plays on PrizePicks, on Pick 6. A lot of different plays. He's giving out better plays as well. A lot of great contributors here. I love the Beat the Line UFC guy. They don't give out a ton of plays, but when they do, they're giving out winners. The Mackenzie Dern play was goated. Then for the Matrix plays, we talked about this. My next favorite thing to use is Game Zone. So we talked about Game Zone. This is one of the most unique things about Edge Zone and their Discord is plays that they're going to give you recommendations, and this white line is the liquidity. So I literally scroll through these plays, and this is when I wait to see, like, Penguins, Flyers, under 5.5. Bet this on Caesars. You know what the final score was yesterday? 3-2, which equals 5. So here's why I love this. First things first. When you open up this play, you're going to see that the orange line is Pinnacle's line. All these little black circles are Pinnacle's odds updating in real time. So right here, we're seeing that it was at plus 127, and then all of a sudden it dropped down to plus 119. So we had a movement of 8 cents by Pinnacle, and then it finished at roughly plus 121. But at 1 o'clock, they were offering $3,800 on this hockey game. And then around 4:30, they offered $7,500. Once they offered $7,500, the play went from plus 119 to plus 121. Small movement in price. Edge Zone's telling you, yo, you can bet this at plus 140 at Caesars. This play cashed, right? So it tells you the sports book to go bet this at. It tells you the best odds that you can get it out. They tell you the fair value. They tell you this is a 4% EV edge play. If you use Quarter Kelly, bet 3/4 of a unit on this play. Now, you can also go by sportsbook. If you just want to look at FanDuel plays, you can do that here. You want to look at just DraftKings plays, you can do that here. They'll give you different plays throughout the time. But one of my favorite things to really do is look at, and you can bet into the sharp books. Bet online, you can do that here, right? At 5 a.m., they're telling you to bet the Cavs at minus 3.5. So maybe you don't have, right? You're not up at 5 a.m., but you can set your notifications to receive it. Then for their props, for their player props, again, you can search by sportsbook. You just want to look for props builder player props. Here's the top player prop a little bit earlier, Nick Claxton under 7.5 rebounds. They give you an entire breakdown. Then they also tell you, Caesars has this at minus 154, plus 110. FanDuel's at plus 114, minus 152. They're telling you to bet this on props builder. So they give you all these different types of plays. That's how I would use Edge Zone. Love using the Game Zone and all that. Love that. Yeah, game ended at 5, so it cashed. If you bet the under 5.5, the game ended on 5 for the Penguins and the Flyers. Lily Pass Edge Zone's a Discord that was started by Arbfather and Arbologist. They partnered together. They give you a lot of sharp money plays. So I provided the link, guys. If you guys want to check it out, I do receive. I'll send all their different packages. They have some different packages. This first package here is $97 a month. I do receive a small kickback if you guys do use this link. So I'm just going to be honest with you. And this one is for $197 a month. This gives you access, this link here, to the Matrix, which we talked about. They're cooking with their NHL shots on goal. And then finally, this is their VIP plan that is $297 a month. So a couple different plans. They have $97, $197, $297 in terms of different plans and different options. So there we go. Let's take a look at the EV tool. And at the moment, guys, I'm using Pinnacle. I'm using worst case. I'm looking at football, basketball, baseball. We'll also throw in hockey. There's one hockey game. And we'll also throw in some soccer. Let's look at the English Premier League, German, and Bundesliga. Let's look at all the popular soccer leagues. Let's take a look at that. I'm looking at the next 7 days. Okay, so we're looking at mainline markets, right? If we wanted to be honest, let me just do this really quickly. Let's kind of clear out everything. Let's look at just basketball right now for the NBA for tonight. Do we have anything? Let's take a look. Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Okay, first up, Timberwolves, -7.5. Pinnacle's taking $10,000 on this play. You can bet this over on no vig at +108 odds. Only $60 in liquidity. I would literally race over there to bet this play on the Timberwolves. Now, a lot of these plays, guys, you're going to say, Billy, these all live under 3% edge. Like, who cares? Well, it's a really big deal because you can get really good prices. So if we have a bunch of different options, remember, Pinnacle's taking way more money on mainline markets than they are player props. If you are someone that's betting a lot of player props, start mixing in mainline markets. Stop being so for the person out there that needs to hear this, stop betting all of your bankroll just on player props. Start mixing in mainline markets. So if I have a bunch of different options with the Hawks, okay, I'm going to take on the spreads. I'm taking the Hawks at -5.5. Now, it just happens to be the highest EV play. It's also the easiest bar to hit on FanDuel. Pinnacle's taking $10,000. This is an ARB to Pinnacle, but over on FanDuel. So I'm going to race over here and bet the Hawks -5.5. I'm going to bet this more than the recommended bet size because Pinnacle's taking $10,000 and this is an ARB to Pinnacle. If I wanted to jump in on this play to see if Pinnacle moved at all, they've been moving a little bit. So I'm running over here to the NBA and I'm going to probably throw down $250 on the Hawks at -5.5. The main line is 7.5. You could probably bet the main line if you wanted to. I'm just going to scroll down here to, I think it's either here. Yeah, right here to same game parlays, alternate spreads, Hawks -5.5 at -148 odds. We're going to go in for $250. There we go. We're in on FanDuel, Hawks -5.5. I think it's an incredible play because it's an ARB to Pinnacle. So we're in for $250. So I bet above the recommended bet size here, guys, because this is a main market that's an ARB to Pinnacle. And as you can see, FanDuel is way off to everybody else. And this is not one of those instances where I think that Pinnacle is sharp. I think it's a great spot to attack them. So let's come back over here. And if I'm going to wager on main markets on FanDuel, this is where I'm going to do it. If we're looking at the Pacers, we're seeing a bunch of Pacers spreads, right? If we're getting Pacers plus points, I want them at +8.5 compared to +6.5. We're receiving a couple extra buckets. Here, this is an extra 2 points, which could be a very big deal. So I'm going to come over here and take a look at the Mavs and the Pacers, +8.5. Again, when we open this play up, this is a low hold to Pinnacle, which is another great strategy. So low holds, +8.5. I would go up to probably maybe $200 on this play. And we're looking at the Pacers +8.5. Right. Which side? I'm on the wrong side already? Dude, this is where the one-click bet feature can help. Here it is. Bingo. Right? $200. Bam. Pacers +8.5. There we go. So we're in on the Hawks and the Pacers. By all means, you can bet the Pacers at +7, 7.5, and 6.5. Just remember, if the Pacers lose by 40, then you're going to be a very sad panda. And, obviously if they win the game or they lose by 2 points, you're going to be extremely happy. I always go after the easiest leg to hit. In both cases, in these both bets we place, they happen to be the highest EV edge plays, for sure. Chi-Town, it was the T-Wolves -7.5. That was the T-Wolves play. Yeah, everyone saw that they came back. Obviously, it was a crazy game. And, Embiid played a lot more minutes and was after it a little bit more. Let's come back over here and let's see what else we have. So mostly, guys, when I'm looking at plays early in the morning, I think FanDuel is very sharp for betting NBA player props, but they can be beat 100% on mainline markets. And so I would be happy to go after them. So, and, FanDuel, out of all the recreational books, guys, that we get limited on, we can get limited on FanDuel and still have plenty of use and utility with the account. Trailblazers are still EV over here on Ballybet. We bet this earlier, a moneyline play for $155. Again, at -136 odds. This is a really just solid play. It's a low hold to Pinnacle. It's an arb to Pauly market at the moment. I definitely like this play on the Blazers. So a couple other things. Under on the Pelicans and the Nuggets. Now, slightly different here where Pinnacle's taking $3,000 on this play, but it looks to be 13 cents off, right? The price of ESPN Bet compared to Pinnacle. Very, very good. Again, I'm not limited on ESPN Bet, but this would be a play I would go after. On the Suns at +2, Pinnacle's taking $5,000 here. This would be another play that I would be happy to entertain. I'm out of money on Caesars, but some different things as well. And if, like myself, I know that I'm limited on these sports books. If I look at the Nuggets here, if I type in Nuggets spreads or I just type in Denver, you can do one or the other. I would say, okay, I have some different options here. Probably want to go after the Nuggets -10.5 compared to -11.5. This is a 1% EV edge difference, which does make a big difference. So maybe I would entertain this play. But let me look at the Nuggets at -10.5. Yeah, I would love to maybe bet this on Bally Bet if I can still get this. So, and I'd be happy to wager well more than $40 on this play because it's a much better play. Also, in general, if Bally Bet is off, guys, on their spreads, and Bet Rivers is off on their spreads, then it's pretty much a given that they're just off on their main spreads as well. And so Pinnacle sees this at probably 13 points. Bet Online's at 13 points. And if we come over here to Bally Bet, you can see that their main line might be -12.5. So when we come back over here, I have $180 in this account. Looking at the Nuggets, yeah, the main line is 12.5. Again, though, you can just open this play up, slide this bad boy across. We can grab them at 11.5 or maybe 10.5. I'll stick to the 11.5 just because of the EV edge, how much it is. I have $180. I'm fine betting the full 180 on this play. And they'll let me bet 141. So we'll put 140. Still fine with that, right? So again, guys, if you know that Bally Bet's easy, right? I know that they're a very easy sports book to beat. I'm going to be able to wager more maybe on the point spreads and money line plays than maybe player props. So maybe that's why, that's another reason why I like to go after them so early in the morning. And I'm very happy with that play. We did take him at -11.5 instead of -10.5, which could be a difference between a win and a loss, but we get that for $140. And again, the sports books aren't taking as much money in the morning as they are later in the day, and that's where they can be beat. You can find value beating them at that range. This play in the Pistons and the Magic, it's only $35 out there. Bet the over 226.5. Pistons Magic over 226.5. This is a very good play on Profit X. Definitely like that. A lot going on here, guys. But this is kind of just going after some mainline NBA markets. And love seeing this. Now, outside of the NBA, we can set this custom date range up for the next 10 days, and we can just jump off. We could see if there's anything for hockey really quickly, because there's only one hockey game. And looks like the Maple Leafs today on the money line, though, it's a 0.5% EV edge. Not enough. Columbus and Toronto. It's the only game going on today in the NHL. This is on no vig, but there's $1,000 in liquidity. Pinnacle's taking $5,000, but this is only 6 cents off, so this doesn't meet my criteria, so I would just pass on that. I'm not betting Czech Republic hockey, guys, so, you can. I'm not going to, though. It's too low of an edge. So if we go also, we take a look at baseball. All right, so for my folks across the pond, whether you're in the UK, whether you're in Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, down south, Lotto Land is a sports book that you can use. We can't use this in America, so I'm probably going to remove it after this morning's stream. But this is a new book that was added to OddsJam called Lotto Land. Looks like there's some great value on the under first half total runs. I love betting this market for Major League Baseball. This is EV on Hard Rock, but not by a ton. If I wanted to try to bet this at -120, yeah, it's only a 0.5% EV edge, so I'm not going to grab that. But a very good play on Lotto Land. The Dodgers at -1.5 on the run line. There's $19 in liquidity. It's a very low edge play on no vig. You could grab that, but there's only 19 bucks. So not unsurprising, guys, when you have a sport that only has one game going on, like the NHL, like Major League Baseball, there's just not a lot going on. There's not much we can bet with. So let's take a look now at the next 7 days. And we can also look for college football, I guess, tonight really quickly, because we're going to look at that as well. We're going to look at some football. We'll look at college football. Let's go to Bookmaker as the sharp at the moment. Nothing going on with Bookmaker? Interesting. All right, so let's pull up Pinnacle, and we'll just throw the next 7 days, and we are going to look at college football and the NFL. This is how you beat the NFL. This is how you beat college football on moneyline spreads and totals. Betting on a Wednesday during the week. One of my favorite times to still bet. Again, if you're betting on NFL, pay attention to weather patterns, right? If you're betting total points, pay attention to these weather patterns. Okay, so looks like we have some awesome opportunities again. If this was on Hard Rock and I'm looking at the Bears-Bengals spreads, we're being recommended a bunch of plays on the Bears. It's a very big difference getting the Bears at -4.5 compared to getting the Bears at -3. -3 is, a field goal, which is a really big deal. So there's a massive difference, guys. While the EV edge is a big deal between the Bears on this price, the points difference is a bigger deal, and I'd rather have the Bears at -3 than -4.5. If the Bears win this game 27-23 or 24-20, you're going to be very happy that you had the Bears at -3 compared to -4.5, right? So with football, the way it's scored, it's a very big deal. If you can get this on Polymarket at -2.5, I love that even more. So as I scroll and I look at all the different Bears spreads options that are EV, I want the -3 compared to -5 or -4.5, right? -4.5, -5, not that big of a deal. For me, it's not a big deal. I'd be fine taking the Bears at -5. But -4 to -4.5 is a big deal. I'd rather have -3. I'm not limited yet on Hard Rock, so that's why I'm not going after this play. But if I were limited on Hard Rock, I would totally bet this. ESPN bet, Old Dominion, -15.5. Probably means that some of the other books are just well off on this play. So Old Dominion at -15.5. When you open this play up, you will see some difference in some sports books. Some books like Pinnacle have this at ±17.5. Circa's at ±17. So to get Old Dominion, to receive this at what, 15.5? Not bad at all. Not bad at all. This is an arb to Pinnacle. This would definitely be something you would want to go after on ESPN bet. Old Dominion at -15.5. Now, smaller conference in terms of college football, but all day long. All day long. Michigan State first half money line again. This is a global sports book called Bet Now. This is an arb to Pinnacle. Is this real life? I'll go over to Bet Now just because I'm limited over there. But we'll move on to some others. Vanderbilt at +1.5. Obviously, if you see this symbol on my screen, guys, that means that I bet the opposite. This symbol is here to tell me, yo, bro, you have a bet on the other side. And what I have is I bet Texas money line. And so I bet Texas money line. I got a bad price. Got a good price on the over, but a bad price on Texas money line. Now here it's telling me to bet Vanderbilt +1.5. There is a world where Vanderbilt loses by 1 and Texas cashes the money line and we cash this play as well. So there is a world where that can happen. So I'm just logging in right now to Bet Now, which is a global offshore sports book. Again, guys, these global books provide a lot of opportunities, something that you definitely want to take a look at. Here we go. So the over on the Broncos and the Texans, over 39.5. ESPN bet. This looks to be very, obviously we know they're playing in Houston, so it's a dome, so you don't have to worry about weather. It's one less thing that you really have to worry about, which is really nice. First half college football. What do we got here? Yeah, this is out there for Michigan State. This is awesome. Michigan State first half money line, they're telling me about $120 on Bet Now. I would love to. All right, so we're going to go $100. Bingo. Got this play on Michigan State. Again, with this play, a little bit of insurance built in. Nice to have another book that pops up. Bet now, that's one that I use from time to time. Broncos, Texans. I can't show that play for you guys because it is a global sports book. It's an offshore book. And YouTube has very strict talking points on not really showcasing the global books. Like this one. Bracco's a new offshore book I need to sign up for, guys. Obviously, Patriots at -5. This could be something I would want to maybe go after. This UCF play on 4CX for my Arizona bettors. Pinnacle's only taking 3K. They are offering 2K, so I'm like, yeah. Like it's not like I'm not super excited about this play at +4. It's fine. Obviously, I'm on the opposite side. I'm at Baylor -4.5, and as you can see, again, this really worked against me. Which happens, but it could work back in my favor because there's plenty of time before this game kicks off. But a lot of what I'm noticing thus far, guys, is ESPN Bet is showcasing a ton of value for spreads and totals, but particularly college football spreads. A lot of spread value when we're using Pinnacle when it comes to this. So I love the +10.5. I love +14.5, -20.5. I like this. These are all really key numbers that you would want to hop on. So again, if I'm seeing these plays that are popping up right now, then you know what I would love to do is something else that you can do, guys. We talk about this all the time. I like all these key numbers: Michigan, South Carolina, Virginia Tech. I can go ahead and create a traditional 3-leg parlay on ESPN Bet. You know, you can do this. This is where maybe, even though it's a Wednesday, I could say, you know what? Let me go ahead and slap together a parlay. And so at the moment, guys, if you will indulge me, off to the side here, I'm just going to go ahead and fire up a 3-leg parlay. The main line's at 11.5. We'll take this at 10.5 at even. We're looking at what? South Carolina at +14.5. The main spread's at 13.5, but the 14.5 is a really big deal. Okay, and then last but not least, Michigan. So we talked about this before. If you guys are new to using the EV tool and trying to figure out how to bet on parlays, then I am going to kind of provide a breakdown here of that. So all I'm doing at the moment is just adding these plays to ESPN Bet. All right, so Purdue and Michigan, we're looking at Michigan -20.5. Okay, so I grab those, and all I'm going to do is come here and say, like, yo, like this looks pretty decent. Really, really good compared to the rest of the books. This is 19 cents off. We'll take Michigan at -20.5. South Carolina at +14.5. This looks, again, extremely good to Pinnacle. I love that. Virginia Tech +10.5. This looks 16 cents off to Pinnacle. So we add all these plays on the parlay tracker. OddsJam's telling me I should be receiving odds of +565. I check my ESPN Bet, and I'm receiving that. So the next thing that we want to do is pull up a calculator, right? And this is where this win probability, guys, comes in handy. So this is a 3-leg parlay that I need all 3 legs to hit. I need all 3 to hit. So Virginia Tech, right? Okay, we'll take this 0.513. We have to multiply all these fair win probabilities together. We find out what the fair win probability is thanks to Pinnacle, and then we just multiply all of these together. 0.537. Just move the decimal point over 2 spots. So my fair win probability on a 3-leg parlay, again, all 3 legs have to hit in order for me to cash. So I actually have a 16.23 or 16.22% chance of winning this parlay. So again, there's an 83% chance, if not higher, that this parlay loses. That's what most sports bettors don't understand when they bet on parlays. They bet on parlays and they're like, dude, I don't understand why I can't win parlays. My parlay is cooked. Yeah, well, because even on a 3-leg parlay, the odds that we're receiving here aren't that crazy, right? They're in the realm of what most sports bettors bet parlays. I have less than a 17% chance of winning this parlay. So I come over here and I'll come over to the Kelly Criterion calculator. I bet quarter Kelly. That's my go-to. So I say, okay, I bet quarter Kelly. I'm receiving odds of +565. I have a 16.23% chance of winning this. Ajin tells me, yo, you have like an 8% EV edge parlay on your hands. You want to bet 0.35 of your bankroll, or in this case, $50. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to bet roughly, let me come over here, bang, bang, $50. And there it is. Now here's my parlay. Let's go back to open. There we go. Here's my parlay at plus 565 odds, right? And I bet $50 on it appropriately. And that's how we do it. So now I know that I have the appropriate amount of risk out there on my parlay. So then all I'm going to do is just come back over to the tool, come over here, type in $50 and click the plus odds sign. Yeah, no doubt about that, for Wombley's definitely a stinky line. So that's how we do it. That's how, if you're looking at plays and you're like, man, I kind of want to put together a parlay, that's how you can figure out, because it's not hard to figure out if the play has an edge. The tough part is figuring out how much money you should be wagering on this play. And that's where this tool really comes in handy. All right, that's the morning stream, guys. I will be back on tonight at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. We're going to run it back. A lot of player prop betting. Looking at a lot of NBA player props. Pay attention to when the injury news drops this afternoon. Make sure you're following Underdog NBA and those alerts are on. That's really going to tell you as we get later and later throughout the afternoon who's in, who's out, who's dealing with injuries, who's questionable, who's probable. So nothing else, guys. Enjoy the morning, and I'll talk to you guys a little bit later this afternoon. Take care.